What are you, nuts? They don't have a sense of reason. You're trying to talk to them at a level they just don't have. See, this whole thing is saying the ones who get spiritually developed are the ones that, number one, have a desire to. And the desire is not by not waiting on God. It's a matter of waiting on God in order for God to be able to reveal more. Because see, what you're revealing to God when you're waiting on Him, I'm hungry for more. There's no sense saying I'm hungry for more, and then I pray once a month. I think about Him or read the Bible once a month. Excuse me, what the heck kind of hunger is that? That's talking to a starving man. Yeah, well, I eat once a month. Well, no wonder you're starving. Why aren't you eating 3 times a day and eating whole food instead of potato chips? I like potato chips. And you tell me you're starving and you're malnutrition. You see, Jesus is saying something here. You notice the disciples say, why are you speaking to him in parables? And he's more than willing to talk with them. Because who are these guys? These are guys that have walked away from their fishing boats, and every day, they don't know what he's talking about, but they're receiving it every day. This is really hard to understand. I don't get it. But you got it. That's the most important thing. Maybe you don't understand it today, but you've got it because you've been walking with me and you want to get it. So I gave it to you. They're interested as to why he's doing this. We don't have people from the crowd, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you on about with sowers and seeds? We don't have anybody really expressing much of an interest in what he's talking about, except the people who really want to know what he's talking about, which are the disciples. And from that point, right there, let's continue on with verses 11 through 15, because Jesus is going to tell them the kinds of things I'm talking about right now. This is not me just waxing eloquent because I think I know something. Jesus, this is what he says. Matthew 13, verses 11 through 15.
And he answered and said to them, because it is given to you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whoever has shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whoever has not, from him shall be taken away even what he has.
This is why I speak to them in parables. But so far, he said something that apparently is unrelated to the question. Why do you speak in parables? And he throws something in there, and then he says, but this is why I speak to them in parables, which is about what you're going to read.
Because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which says, by hearing you shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing you will see, and not perceive. For this the people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, hear with their ears, and should understanding be in their heart, and they should be converted, and I should heal them.
But for those who feel like, God has done this thing, he's closed their eyes, he's made them... Did you notice what Glory just read? Because what have they done with their eyes? Are their eyes open? No. They've closed their ears. They've stopped theirs. You see, the onus is not on God. It's on the person making the decisions. I'm going to close my eyes. I don't want to hear it. So this idea that we've got this God that's making people so they can't hear and then talking to them and saying, you see, they're deaf. It's not like that. By virtue of the fact that they have made a choice, they're not interested. I don't have the time. I don't really care. Well, only certain people can understand this stuff. The list goes on and on and on of the nonsensical excuses. They're not even reasons, they're excuses. What Jesus is speaking into when he says, let them that have ears to hear, everybody has them. But he's speaking a spiritual language that he says those who are interested in spiritual development, they have ears to hear and understand what I'm saying. And they're hearing right now. They get it. That when you turn to God, you start to develop your spiritual senses. You get ears, you get eyes, taste and see the Lord is good. You pray. Do you remember when Jesus said 2 people gathered together praying as touching anything? What the heck is that about? How do you touch something? No. Spiritual people understand when you pray through. And it may take hours. It may take days to pray through. I know people that say, well, once you pray, it's a done deal. God gets it. Well, that's not what Jesus said. Jesus said there's some things, like Daniel in the Old Testament, prayed for 21 days, and finally when the archangel shows up, when Michael shows up, it's like, I was being resisted. I was in spiritual warfare for 21 days. Thank you very much for praying through. Prayer is not that easy. It's not that simple. It's easy on our part to know, but it's a vast world of things that go on. Different message. The point being that Jesus starts by talking about the mysteries have been given to you. Now, he's not talking about mysterious like we think of something that's mysterious. He's just saying that there are some things that you can never understand without me. That's kind of the way it works. Although many Bible scholars, there are a lot of pastors today that have not waited on God, spent a minute with him, but have a lot to say about what Jesus is saying and what this means. The point is, Jesus is expressing something that's outside of the realm of unassisted natural knowledge. You just can't learn these things without him. It's by divine revelation at a time and a place that God chooses. And he illumines these things by his Spirit. It's like in the natural sense, mystery implies knowledge being withheld. In the spiritual, its truth is being revealed. It's the exact opposite, but it's a truth that hasn't been seen or known before. So in that context, it's considered a mystery. It's being revealed. So the question becomes, so does God select? I mean, it sounds like it by what Jesus says. To you, it's been given. To those, it has not been given. So does God select who to give to? Would you read, you just read that, right? Would you read what Jesus said?
He answered and said to them, because it is given to you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given.
Sounds like he's making a choice when he's really making a simple statement. You give food to hungry people because they'll eat it. And the disciples are eating. So it's been given to them. To them it has not been given. Why? Because they're not hungry. They don't like that food. They walk away from it. They spit it out. And I got news for you. The mysteries and the truth that I am revealing are not to be squandered and wasted. In another place, Jesus would talk about not tossing your pearls to swine and stuff. They're not interested. They're not interested. So all he's saying is it's been given to you. Why? You've been walking with me now for 1.5 years. This is about 1.5 years into his ministry. You've thrown away your hope into anything or anybody else. You've put your faith in me. We're in this particular place that I am happy to give you all of these mysteries and these truths. The other ones, they come to a large group setting hoping that they can be fed miraculously. Where are the miracles? Where are the signs? They're not particularly, or I've got a ministry. I love that whole way that Jesus lays things out. The multitudes show up for the feedings. As long as there's miraculous feedings, I'm there. And then you get 70 or 100, depending which passage you're reading, people that he sends out. They're happy enough to exercise the ministry. I've got a ministry. I've got a ministry. But then Jesus says, come on, let's go for a walk. What are we going to do? Nothing. I'm going to tell you how my heart is breaking for a dying world. I'm not interested in that. Send me out on a ministry. Let me do my ministry. Because there are these places, depending on what place you're at, depends on the amount of revelation you will receive about various things. Because that's where God reveals them. And the ongoing waiting on him. That's where it happens, is walking with him. And not vacillating from saying, Lord, I trust you, to having a mini heart attack when you lose your job. God knows we need work. He's called us to work. But he's called us to trust him first. No, God doesn't exactly select the way we'd like to think he selects. He just knows what he's doing as far as giving food to hungry people. Whoever retains, makes use of the word he's giving them, he gives more, is what he's saying. And those who he gives to, and they just basically walk away, throw it away, they get less. Why would you give them more? It doesn't even make any sense. If you're giving money to somebody and they're burning it, why would you give it to them? I mean, God might say give it to them, but otherwise, why would you do that? Give money to people who have bills. You see, there's a real important, whoever retains, whoever keeps the word that is given to them, the revelation that's given to them, are the ones who are going to keep going on this, what I call a love loop, where it's revealed, it's received, and it's retained. That the seed is the same seed. Jesus just taught them this. Look, I'm sowing the same seed to the multitude, but the ground is different depending on the person. So now in John 14, part of what Jesus is talking about, when he talks about, puts the word and love together, what is going to be the key word? Somebody in John chapter 14, please read verses 15 and 16.
If you love me, keep my commandments, and I will pray the Father, and he will give you another helper, that he may abide with you forever.
Love me, keep, and you'll get more. The Father. I mean, that's what you just read, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what it sounds like. Would you go to verse 21?
He who has my commandments and keeps them, it is he who loves me. And he who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and manifest myself to him.
Still sounds like keeping is huge. Now, I know, just so we sort this out, because you may know, you may have even heard it preached, they take this word keep, and they say that it means obey. So Jesus is calling them to obedience. It does not mean obey. Circle it in your Bible, right over it, does not mean obey. There's a different Greek word for obey. This word keep is the same word that is used when he transforms the water to wine. And when they taste it, do you remember what they say when they taste the wine in John 2? Everybody else brings out the wine early on. You have kept the best wine till last. Now, if somebody can tell me how to obey wine, then I'm willing to say, okay, well, maybe he's talking about obedience here. When you trace that word in the Greek through the New Testament, it never means obey. It always means to keep something. I give something to Mark. A week later, I come back, Mark, and he gives it back to me because he kept it. He held on to it. All Jesus is saying is, listen, I'm pouring my word into you if you keep it. There's nothing to do with it. Why? Because the seed bears fruit.